Here we have a Nintendo Switch that came in for no power, totally dead, 0 amps being drawn by the game console. I asked Big Boss to take it apart. This is the board right there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the USB-C port on the board right here. We're gonna change the USB-C port and hopefully we can get this Nintendo Switch to work again. USB-C port has a lot of pins. And some of the pins are hidden. So the only way to solder those pins is to reflow the connector in place. I'll show you what I mean. We have a set of pins from the back here, and we have a set of pins from the front. Now we can solder the front pins, but we cannot solder the back pins. So what we have to do is we have to apply solder onto the pads of the board, and then we need to put the connector on top and heat up the board so everything flows down in place. And then we can touch the front pins with solder to make sure everything is connected properly. And if you also notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs. The first thing I want to do is apply some low melt solder on whatever pins I see. And I'm going to preheat the board to about 230 degrees so we can remove this connector as safely as possible. A lot of people in this business would apply so much heat onto that board to remove the connector, and that's the wrong way of doing it. A lot of heat can cause a lot of problems. You can shift components around, you can warp the board, you can damage other stuff on the board if you're not very careful. So just want to apply low melt solder here so we can lower the melting temperature of unleaded. Combined with preheating, it will be so easy to remove this connector. Let's go ahead and preheat the board, maybe about 5 minutes at 230 degrees. Okay, and I'll be back. The board is still preheating. It's actually hot to the touch. I'm gonna turn it off. And yeah, let's put the board on the board holder and let's quickly start working on it before the board loses heat. Alright, the conductor is already pulling up. And that's it. If it wasn't for low melt solder and preheating, it would have taken a lot more time to remove the connector and we would have exposed the board to a lot of sudden heat from the hot air. If there's one thing we learned from this business is to be very patient when working with any specific device and to do it as safely as possible. And everything looks nice and clean and ready for the new connector to go on. I want to make sure all the holes are empty, and yes. So you see the front pins we can easily solder, but what we cannot solder are those pins, those set of pins on the bottom here. Right, so what I'm going to do is preheat the board one more time. Few minutes. So that way we apply as little hot air as possible to reflow the connector in place. So preheating takes 2-3 minutes, and the board will absorb all the heat from the preheating, so that when we apply hot air, we do not have to expose the board to a lot of sudden heat. So let's wait 2-3 minutes and we'll finish off with reflowing the connector. Okay, the board is hot. I just put it on the preheater for about 2 minutes. Okay, and now we're gonna put that connector down in place like this. Okay, I'm pressing down on the connector and heating at the same time. Just a few more seconds. Okay, that should be it. Okay, and the connector is soldered in place perfectly. So we're gonna give it to Big Boss to reassemble and test. All right, so let's plug the charging cable. And ta-da! It's currently charging at 0.45, which is very good. Now, I do not see anything on the screen. It could be that the battery is dead and it may take a few minutes before anything shows up on the screen. I am leaving in about 2 minutes, so I'll take this home with me and I'll finish off the video from there. Right, so it only took 5 minutes on the charger, and as you can see, the Nintendo Switch turned on. At first, I would see it backlight, but it would not turn on. I had to press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds, and now the Nintendo Switch turns on. So that's it. It's fixed, and I'll see you in the next video.